Yo, man. So we back at it again.
Yes, sir.
What a damn weekend. What a damn weekend. That's all I got to say. Honestly, you can go back to you can really go back to Friday night or Saturday night when the Houston Cougars got the win against TCU. But
I know, right?
yeah, I mean, the Houston Cougars have looked like a hot pile of a mess. There's no getting around that. But getting the win, that was really big. But we're not here to talk about college football. I mean, we're here to talk about sports, but we're more worried about this right here. These guys right here.
Sorry. Got
You
confused.
can't see it. Yeah. What he got on right there. That H-Town. We're here to talk about these cats right here. Them right there. The motherfucking Texans. Them goddamn Texans, man. Goddamn.
I was about to show my Miami hat. Almost got
Please
confused
don't.
like that. I got confused like the ref when he confused the football for a basketball.
When he confused basketball and football real quick. Yeah, that was insane. Motherfucking Houston Texans had the Buffalo Bills come into town. My mom's Buffalo Bills coming to town. You can imagine how my household was when this game was on. What a game. Definitely a tale of two halves. Definitely a tale of two teams. However you want to put it. Texans jump out big on the Bills at halftime. What was it? 17-3, if I'm not mistaken.
17-3.
Jump out big time. Cam Akers with a 12-yard run to give them the 7-3 lead, and then CJ with a one-play 67-yard bomb to Nico Collins, who and coincidentally ended up hurting his hamstring on that game or on that play, and he's now week to week on the injury report, so we probably won't see him for at least 2 weeks. More likely it'll be 3 weeks, but we'll play it by ear on that one. But halftime, damn, Buffalo popped back. Scored, what was it? Like 17 unanswered. 17 unanswered until we 14 unanswered, and then we kicked a field goal to
our
take
first drive. Yeah, our first drive of the half.
That's right. We kicked the field goal, went up 17-3, and then they scored 17 unanswered to tie it up. And then with 2 seconds remaining, as Moon likes to say, our kicking Hawaiian comes up and drills a clutch 59-yard field goal to give us the win, 23-20. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I say No Narratives Podcast is back with episode 18, and we're here to talk about them Texans.
Already.
What's your thoughts, dog? Because that game was... I lost my voice. Especially in the last 10 minutes of that game, I lost my fucking voice.
I couldn't sit on my seat the whole game, honestly. First half, amazing. Running the ball, getting touchdown. Nico with the long ball. You're thinking, okay, this is the way we're supposed to be looking all season, And
100.
Man.
100.
But second half, like you said, a different story, man. Penalties started coming into the game. We went a whole half without getting a penalty, which was beautiful.
Oh, amazing.
But offense stopped. Bill started catching momentum. But if you wasn't there or you didn't watch the game, the last minute and a half was
insanity.
Out of your seat. Insanity. Exactly. You're
insanity.
Thinking, we get the ball with a minute and a half left or so, and we're driving. I already think, okay, we're going to kick a field goal. We're going to have to defend them for like 45 seconds. We get down to field goal range, and CJ gets an intentional grounding call that took us out of field goal range.
I want to circle back around to that because I have thoughts on that, but keep going.
So we put in the ball with like 40-something seconds. Our defense, that really, honestly, they bend that second half, but they did not break.
No, yeah, they definitely didn't break.
Three consecutive defensive stops to get the ball back.
And only 16 seconds come off the clock.
But only 16 seconds coming out the clock.
No timeouts used. 16 seconds come off the clock. Insanity.
We get the ball back with the veteran Robert Woods as the returner. being as smart as he is, gets us down to like the 47
I
yard
can't
line.
even call him smart, dog, because he fucking fair caught the ball at the 2 yard line earlier in the game, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Let
He
that bitch
must
bounce into the end zone.
he must have got Sims water bottle before the game. That's what it
Bro, he
was.
got something.
But
Because I'm like, why are you fair catching it at the 2? Just let that
but
motherfucker bounce.
that last catch redeems anything he did with a smart play, you know. And like I said, we got a little closer, made it, you know, hard but manageable for Kyrie Fairbairn, and the kick in the wine gets the last minute game winning field goal.
Last
And
seconds, my God.
now he becomes the all time leading scorer for the Houston Texans franchise.
I was what,
So
776 or 773 or 773 or 776 points or something like that.
and that explains everything. I mean, my guy is the player of the week for me, for sure. I like this kid for the last 3 years, but
And it's
think
crazy
about it.
because when we first got him, he wasn't this consistent. My dad and I were talking about it. He's like, my dad hated him when he first got here. He was missing extra points, missing field goals. And he's like, you need to go. It's time for you to go. But it's
coming out to be
all
a
of a
beautiful
sudden,
thing.
all of a sudden he's figured it out and he's become who he is now. And he's, you know, he's one of our biggest weapons on not only special teams but offense.
Right.
Because
He is our Justin Tucker. To me personally, like just think about just this season, he's 8 for 9 for 50 plus yarders. I think he's perfect from 40 and back as well, and he's 8 for 8 on extra points.
Yep.
You know the guy,
Which is
whatever.
bad when you think about it, because we've only scored 8 touchdowns and into week 4 now, going into week 5. That's not all that great. So
exactly, offense still has his hiccups. You know, of course, it looked like the offense died on us, especially when Nico got out. We had to find something. Stephon stepped up for sure.
Right.
I mean, the whole receiving core, everybody had good catches. You know, Tank did his thing. Also, Hutchinson with a couple of big catches as well.
Dalton had that big catch there in the fourth quarter when we were going down to drive, I believe, before we punted the ball with the 40 seconds left. He had that big catch at the 30-yard line where he jumped up and grabbed it. All the receivers stepped up when they needed to, but that's something I wanted to talk about. I guess where I'm trying to get at is this offense seems like it's truly dependent on Nico Collins. Like, I mean, I get it. Nico's a beast. He's our number one. He's obviously a beast, but it's like when you have the likes of Steph and Tank, Dalton, you know, Hutchinson has shown he can catch a couple of grabs. Robert Woods is a veteran. You know, why did it seem like when Nico went down, the offense really couldn't bounce back from that? It just seemed stagnant. Is it because we're so codependent on him, or is it because I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the Bills' defense either, because their defense definitely showed up in the second half. Like they were definitely getting pressure, and there was 2 bad plays. The one was the interception that CJ threw to the linebacker, who just made a great play, and I guess CJ didn't see him drop into coverage. And then I feel like they got lucky with the fumble, because it was like I think the defensive lineman just happened to swipe down at him. And just happened to get the ball and it squirted out in the pocket. But I mean, is it because the offense is geared towards Nico, or is it because he opens up so much more? What do you think?
The way I look at it, I feel like they depend on Nico a lot. I mean, I guess he's the one that gets everybody going. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like nobody's stopping him either. My guy's open, and I don't blame CJ for not throwing to him. He's a big target, and
he's big, but he's fast too. You go back and look at that 67-yard. I was driving home. We had finished up at the vet, and you and I were texting each other, and you were giving me the updates. I truly appreciate that, by the way.
Yes, sir.
And you told me about the 67-yard bomb. One play, 67 yards to Nico. I was like, oh, okay, bet, cool. I went back and ran it back when I got home because I had left the TV on, so I ran it back to watch it. Yo, he ran past everybody. He
turned the Jets on
by everybody. It wasn't a double move. It wasn't CJ scrambling out or anything. No, it was a straight. He was gone. Like he took off. He ran past the corner. He ran past the safety, and he was just wide open behind him. So it's like he's not only big, but he's got speed. And he's got reliable hands. So it's like what you said. You don't blame CJ for going to him. question is, though, when Tank having such a great year last year before he got hurt, and Steph being the caliber player that he was when he was in Minnesota and Buffalo, you would expect and kind of think that, okay, Nico goes down, we really shouldn't skip a beat because we still got these two great receivers. But Steph got going. Don't get me wrong, Steph got going, especially when Nico went down. He ended with 6 catches, 82 yards. And he had several great catches that kept drives going. And then Tank had a good catch, I think, on third down, which kept the drive going for us as well. But it doesn't seem like they're getting open. And now, or it doesn't seem like they're getting as open as easily as they were last year. Now, do you think that's due to the defense, or do you think that's more due to slow play calling or offensive scheme?
Probably
Or
the
could it be a
offensive.
bit of both?
I'll agree with a little bit of both. I mean, I'll give Tank a little bit of I won't get too much on him just because he had a heck of a. Of course,
He had a heck of a rookie.
he had a heck of a rookie year before the ankle, and once you break something, it's just different, and probably still has PTSD about it, That's why maybe he has his slumps, and then he also did get shot during the summer,
True.
so his body probably is not his body. He may be running routes, but his body may not be 100%. It may take some time for him to finally feel comfortable. He still does enough to.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, he's doing enough to produce for us. So but in the day, it's just because we expect him to score touchdowns like he was doing last year. But at the end of the day, he moved down to number 3. Stefan's number 2, and but at least luckily we have a good receiving core. Even tight ends, like I said, we even got the tight ends involved this week.
Yeah,
and
100%.
So, but yeah, sometimes I feel like we do depend too much on Nico just because of what he brings to the table. But now it's like, okay, he's going to be out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Who's going to be the one that's going to step up? Of course,
who's going to step up?
We want Diggs because he's the veteran, but hey, there's a whole bunch of receivers in that room,
and there's a lot of receivers that can produce in that room. They've got different pedigrees, they've got different, they've got different backgrounds, they've got different skill sets. And what I was going to say before I rudely interrupted, and I apologize for that, was there's the old adage: there's a difference between being in shape and being in game shape, and Tank probably hasn't worked his way into game shape yet. So, and I can't be as overly critical as I want to be because I've got to respect that. So, it's still a young season. Week 5, we're coming up on week 5, or I'm sorry, week 6. We just had week 5. Texans are 4-1. They've got a stranglehold, not necessarily a stranglehold on the division, but they've definitely got a 2-game lead in the division. Next team is Indy. They're 2-3. Tennessee had a bye week this week, so they stay at 1-3. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, they finally get themselves a win this past week, and
and it will be against the Indianapolis Colts,
man. And it would be against the Colts, so I'm happy with that shit. Fuck it. Jacksonville gets their first win, knocks off Tennessee or knocks off Indianapolis, so Indy can't continue to try and gain ground on us. So now we got a 2-game lead in the South, but. Hey, that I ain't gonna lie though. That Jacksonville Indiana, there was 3 games that I was watching this past weekend. Obviously, we got the Texans and Bills because obviously Texans and Bills. That damn Jacksonville Indianapolis game was insane, but so was that damn Bengals and Ravens game.
Yes, sir.
I know you didn't really watch it and didn't really catch any of that until after the Texans game. But let's go back. Jacksonville Indianapolis, insane game. Absolutely insane. What you got to talk about that, my man?
I'm just glad the Jaguars finally got a win, I guess. I don't mind it. I feel like Indy's the only one that I have to worry about in our division at the moment. So it kind of makes me happy. But it just shows this NFL is different in the last couple of years. Like anybody can win any given Sunday, bro.
It's insane.
I did not have the Giants beating the Seahawks this Sunday. And they beat the Seahawks.
I didn't have Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings being undefeated going into week 6. Exactly. I think, what are they, the last undefeated team, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep, and they're going into the bye week.
No, that's a lie. Kansas City's undefeated as well. So Minnesota and Kansas City, obviously. Minnesota and Kansas City, both the last undefeated teams. But I'm not thinking Minnesota with Sam Darnold, or hell, even JJ McCarthy is undefeated. You know,
Right.
that's just a testament to how great their coach is doing right now. I mean,
Yes,
hell,
sir.
they stomped us in week 3 or week 2 or week 3. Week 3, they stomped the shit out of us. So it's like, you know,
It seems like they're
that's
the
not a
truth.
yeah. They seem like they're the truth. You cannot sleep on the Minnesota Vikings at all. But going back to this Colts and Jaguars game, bro, like Anthony Richardson's out with a hip injury. So who do they roll out there? Joe motherfucking Flacco.
Dirty Bird Flacco.
Old man Joe, off the couch last year for the Cleveland Browns, lead them to the playoffs. Old man Joe backing up Anthony Richardson. So what does he do?
That's a monster of a game.
33 for 44, 359 yards, 3 tutties, no interceptions. But across from him is Trevor Sunshine Lawrence, 28 to 34, which is outstanding, especially for him having the year that he's been having so far. So he only had 6 incompletions, 371 yards, 2 tutties, 1 interception. Interception, obviously, you don't want that, but I mean, this game was fucking back and forth. Back and forth. I remember catching highlights between the Texans and Bills game, and it was Indy just scored. And then we're going to another game break. Jacksonville scored, take the lead back. Indy scored, they're tied. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, damn, they're going at it down there in Duval. They out there throwing haymakers and punches, and they going at one another. And of course, when the Texans game got down to the nitty gritty, I obviously didn't give a shit about anybody else. But, when the game was over, they cut over to the Bengals and Ravens game, which understandably so, I know why. I really thought they would have taken us over to Duval to see that game, with us being an AFC South team and that being an AFC South game or matchup. I understand why they sent us to Bengals and Ravens because, damn, that was a fucking game. But Jags get the win, 37-34. Cam Little, 49-yard field goal with 17 seconds left in the game to get the dub for the Jaguars. And the Jaguars are now 1-4 with a win in the division. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's just a fucking crazy ass year. It really
for
is.
sure.
I mean, it's just fucking insane. And I keep on alluding to the Ravens and Bengals game, y'all. I mean, if you didn't catch it, Ravens, Bengals go down basically they go to overtime. Final was 38-34, or no, I'm sorry, 38-35. That game, or I'm sorry, 41-38. I'm lowballing it. I'm looking at the wrong score. 41-38. Ravens kick a field goal with a minute 35 left in regulation after a fumble, if I'm not mistaken, by Joe Burrow, and results in the Ravens getting it into field goal range, which for Justin Tucker is anywhere on the other side of the 50-yard line, or maybe even at the 50-yard line at this damn point. I don't even know. The dude's a fucking monster.
And he's outdoors.
He drills it from 56 yards, ties the game up, and then they go into overtime. First play in overtime, Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, I don't think it was the first play. It might have been the second play.
During that drive.
Yeah, it was during their first drive. He's trying to get the ball. He's clapping, trying to get it. The center snaps it, and I guess he misreads the ball, bounces off of his shoulder, shoots behind him, and the Bengals jump on it. Nightmare scenario for the Baltimore Ravens. They're giving the ball back to the Cincinnati Bengals with great field position. I think they're at like the 40 or some shit. Bengals get it close enough. I think they get to like a 35-yard field goal. The punter mishandles the snap from the field goal, or from the long snapper, and McPherson's kick sails far left, misses it. Damn, not what you want to see. The immediate first play on the next drive for the Ravens, a 51-yard scamper for fucking Derrick Henry. The man is aging like fine wine. I swear to God. I think he just reached over 10,000 yards rushing and 100 touchdowns total or some shit in this game. The dude is just phenomenal. I mean, us being Texan fans, we know all about Derrick Henry with his time with the Tennessee Titans. So we know all about him and his greatness and how much I hated him when we played him on Sundays. but runs 51 yards down, gets them in field goal range, and Justin Tucker from 24 yards out with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Ball game, 41-38. Fucking game went ape shit crazy.
No lie. When Lamar fumbled, I was like, okay, the Bengals won. I switched the channel.
Bro, I said the same thing. I was like, they won this bitch. We're good. I mean, they're good. I mean, my dad's from Cincinnati. His second team is the Bengals behind the Texans now. So I kind of keep an eye on it, especially with him being in the hospital. So I keep an eye on it because I know he can't watch it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Bengals got this one in the bag. They straight. Just goes to show that anything can happen, and anything that will happen can happen. And it happened in this game. I mean, the fumble from Lamar, or not even the fumble going back in regulation from Joe Burrow to give the Ravens an opportunity to tie the game, to which they did. The fumble by Lamar on their first drive in overtime. The missed kick by McPherson because the punter mishandled the snap. I mean, anything can happen. That's three things right there that happened in literally the last 2 minutes of the of regulation, and then the first, I don't know, 5-6 minutes of overtime. Anything will happen, and it can happen. Anything can and will happen is what I'm trying to get at. But it was an amazing game. You look at the stats from both quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, 26 of 42, 348, 4 touchdowns. That's amazing for Lamar. Joe Shiesty, 30 of 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. He did have the 1 interception. What the hell, man? Like, the Bengals.
No defense.
They're 1-4.
It's a divisional game. It's a divisional
game. But I mean, they're 1-4. They're 0-3 at home. It's not on their offense, man. Their defense just is MIA. I mean, yeah, I get it's the Baltimore Ravens, but your offense is over here putting up 38 points, bro. What the fuck?
You got to at least stop them twice.
You got to stop them. You stop them twice, and it's over. Like, it's just fucking over. But, I mean, it's Sunday, and as we both know, anything can happen on Sundays.
Any given Sunday.
Given Sunday.
Yeah, I would have never thought to see the Bengals be 1-4. Honestly, I thought they'd probably
not at all
in the 500s or anything like that. But
no,
it's just because they're not clicking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right here. They've scored 140 points this year, but their defense has given up 145. I mean, that's not going to win you games. Now, I mean, the same could be said about the Houston Texans. You go back to the Houston Texans, and we've scored 102 points, but we've given up 114, but we're 4-1. But of the 114, 35 of them motherfuckers came against Minnesota when we scored 1 touchdown, or we kicked a field goal, or whatever the fuck it was. So that ass whooping is where that is misconstrued at. So, but I mean, it's a shame. I hope the season is still a long season ahead.
Very young, for sure.
It's still young. This is just week 5. There's still my math is terrible. 17, 18 weeks left, or 7. No, not 17, 18 weeks. I'm sorry. Like I said, my math is terrible. 12, 13
it's 11 weeks, my guy, coming into this week. We have 17, maybe. I don't know. Man, you got me messed up now. Thanks.
It's 18 weeks because you got the bye week. If we've played 5 games, we've got 13 weeks left. Fuck you.
Good job. I'm glad
my math is now mathing because it wasn't mathing about 30 seconds ago. Fuck
but
you.
Yeah. But no, but
I already said math and I aren't friends, damn it. Shit. But going in, we got week 6 coming up. We got ourselves a matchup with an AFC East rival. And I can call them a rival just because of all the shit that the Patriots have put us through the last several, back during our playoff runs in the 2010s, with Tom Terrific, the GOAT, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. But we got a matchup with our AFC East rivals coming out in the news today on October 8th, Tuesday. The New England Patriots will be starting rookie quarterback Drake May against the Houston Texans. Your thoughts?
About time. I mean, Jacoby Brissett really wasn't doing nothing for the Patriots at this point. It's time to give your first round pick a go at it and see where you stand with him. Don't, I mean, it's Coach Mayo Coach Mayo's first gig as a head coach. So I mean, of course, I mean, if I was a coach, I would go with a veteran quarterback. But now that really, I think they only won one game so far, or maybe even
Yeah, they
two.
won. I think they won. I think they won week one, and then they've lost 4 straight.
So it's time to see what else. Probably the fans are calling for change. So now it's just time to see what we got. But
Yeah.
it had to be against the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
it's just
couldn't be
like,
against anybody else. Had to be against us.
right.
Had to be against
And
us.
but I
It's got
mean,
it's
it's
got
gonna
trap game written all over it for the Texans, man.
for
It
sure.
really does. You think about it. It really does. We're coming off an emotional win against the Bills. Great game. Shout out to the Bills. I didn't say that earlier. Great game. Y'all look like shit in the first half. Second half, y'all came out and y'all made us look like a hot pile of shit. Great.
Yes, sir.
Looked amazing. A little tidbit from that, and this is just a shout out to our guy Stephon Diggs. He had more catches and more receiving yards than the other 4 wide receivers in that game. Just an FYI. So,
Yeah.
but going back to this game, emotional win over the Bills. Going into against a team that's 1-4 that we really should have no business mollywhopping, and then we're going against a rookie quarterback who doesn't have any experience in the league. We're notorious for dropping games like this. We truly are. We're notorious.
Yep.
We're notorious for dropping games like this. We're notorious for dropping games that to quarterbacks that we have no business losing to, i.e. Zach Wilson and the New York Jets last year. Had no business to it, losing to him, but we did. It's I got my concerns. I've got my I'm hesitant about this week just because of this news. So I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, the Texans scare me every time they go north. I ain't gonna lie to you, especially over there at Foxborough. Just with all those years with Tom Brady, just giving us the business.
Mm-hmm.
But this week, I think we favor pretty well. I mean, I think I guess it's a break to at least try to work our offense because our offense really isn't what it needs to be. So I mean, a point like this may be a blessing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We just had two last minute game winning games. So I mean, at the same time, it's like we need the rest. Heck, the defense. We can't depend on the defense forever. I mean, they're doing their thing. I mean, shout out to the defense as well when it
Hey,
comes to the
shout out
Bills
to your
game.
boy Aziz Al Shair. Was in the hospital Saturday night.
They,
Lost 10 pounds because he was not throwing up his guts or vomiting his guts out, and
yep.
came out and played his ass off against the Bills.
He had he
But
had he had two pass deflections that really should have been interceptions.
it should have been interceptions on both of
I think he had like
them.
8 tackles, and also he had important quarterback pressures
Hmm.
in certain times. But also, shout out to the other linebacker that was out there too, Henry
Henry
To'o.
202. Yep.
He did
Yeah,
his
he
thing for sure. I mean,
he had a great game as well.
he's taken his opportunity to the max. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Week one, and ever since week one, he's just been he's like reading it so well,
Yeah, he's
and he's
doing.
a
I mean,
and he's
he
very
really
complimentary.
is. You're 100%. I mean, I think he had the one bad game. He had. I want to say it was probably against the Vikings because we all had a bad game against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, he's really continued to improve with each week, and it just makes it that much better to whenever we do get Christian Harris back to add to that already really solid linebacking core, and he will just help take it over the edge even more. Um, no, I want to give a shout out to I saying it before. I said Stephon Diggs had 6 catches, 82 yards, and I think the other receivers for the Bills had like 4 catches for 60 something or something like that. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
it came on the one catch from Keon Coleman, who put the move on Kamari Lassiter and ran 49 yards for a touchdown on 4th and 5, which pissed me off, but it is what it is.
Yep.
But I mean, a shout out to our corners. Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley had great games to hold Bills wide receivers to 4 catches and 60 something yards. Josh Allen had a terrible game throwing the rock. I mean, he was, if I can get this pulled back up real quick, he was
He had like nine completions.
nine
Yeah.
completions out of 30 pass attempts for 131 yards. And that touchdown was on a 49-yard catch by Keon Coleman, which was his only catch of the game. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a great defensive showing. I remember you and I both challenged the defense after week 1 to get better, and they've gotten better. With the exception of that Minnesota game, they have been great for the other
Oh,
3
for
games we
sure.
played. So
For sure.
it's been great for us to see. So, I hope they game plan as best as they can. Obviously, I don't know what you do with a rookie quarterback. I guess you go back and look at his college highlights to see what he can do and what he can't do, and you kind of keep an eye and look and see what the Patriots'
Also,
offensive schemes are running.
I'll say they'll do the same thing they did against Caleb Williams. Our Texans are not known for blitzing, and they blitzed the hell out of Caleb
And they
Williams.
probably will blitz. They'll probably blitz the shit out of him, which I hope they do, because they want him to be uncomfortable as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, Sunday is only a few days away. We'll find out what's going to happen during that time. Other news coming out of the AFC East today. Head coach of the New England, smack me in the face now. New York Jets, Robert Saleh has been relieved of his job as the head coach for the New York Jets. 2-3 start. Obviously, that's not what the Jets had in mind, especially with Aaron Rodgers coming back from the Achilles injury. They thought they would be much better than what they are. That's tough. 5 weeks in. I mean, you 2-3. You don't have it. It's not like you haven't won. And if we're being honest, Aaron Rodgers looked like shit on Sunday. But
Mm-hmm.
the first person who's always going to take the heat is going to be the head coach, and that's exactly what happened.
And it's not even his fault. It's it's the office's fault. I mean, what you thought you were gonna get with a 40-year-old quarterback?
Right.
He's not Tom Brady. And then
Mm-mm.
I'll even go further than that. He's not Brett Favre, guys. Brett Favre gave you better years in his old days than
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers
Then
is
Aaron
probably gonna
Rodgers.
give you.
Right.
So I mean, it sucks. It has to go with the head coach, but hey,
But that's how it always is
H
in the
Town needs a
league.
defensive coach. Why not? Come on, Salah. Take your little break,
Yeah.
big dog. Take your little break. You know what I'm
Take a
saying?
little break from being a head coach. Why don't you come on down here to the South? We'll show you
Yeah.
that Southern hospitality. You could team back up with your boy D'Amico from y'all's days in San Francisco, and we can run it back. Come on, we got the Jets we got the Jets in a couple of weeks. Come to
Yeah.
Houston. You can get that run back, baby. Come on now. You know you
Yeah.
want to. But
We got great benefits. Come on.
yeah, we got great benefits. We got no state tax, so you get the majority of your money, except from what the government takes from you. So come on now.
Why not?
I mean, it's a win-win. I'll take it. We always could use another linebacker coach or a better one. Shit, fuck it,
For
whatever.
sure.
But I don't know, man. You got anything else you want to add to it? Got anything else you might want to talk about?
Oh man. Blitz Drake May all you need to for Sunday. And once again, hey, let's work on our run game. I mean, hey, I forgot about that too. Shout out to the running backs, bro.
Yep.
How can we forget the running backs when my boy, my Nigerian brother,
Not Hadare
Dre
Agumbawale.
Adare Gumbawale, did his thing and took an amazing step with his opportunity Sunday,
Yeah.
making
He didn't.
major key plays.
I don't think he didn't have a really efficient running game. I think he
Off
had
the
15
backfield.
carries for 30 yards, but in the passing game he was huge, and the runs that he did have, some of the runs he did have were definitely key runs. So, definitely a huge shout out to him. 100%.
Shout out to Cam Akers as well.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, the whole line looked amazing. We gave up 1 sack. I mean, I didn't even know we had a sack in our defense until I watched the highlights. I said, "Oh yeah, that happened early in the game." But I mean,
And that's what happened is, I mean, our first drive was absolutely stupid. I mean, I didn't see it, but when I looked at the stats, I mean, I think he had 2 carries, -3 yards, and then a screenplay, which resulted in -2 yards for CJ. And it's like, okay, 3 and out punt. We went back 5 yards. I'm pretty sure watching it, you were like, well, this is going to be one hell of a fucking game. I'm pretty sure when you saw that, you were like, oh, this is going to suck.
it was not part of the game plan. for
Not at
sure.
all. Not at all. Not at
But I
all. But yeah,
mean,
I agree with you. Huge shout out to the running backs for doing their thing today. Doing their thing on Sunday. And you know what? I got to give another shout out to our quarterback, CJ Stroud. Motherfucker was
major
running his ass off. Like
for
there was a
sure.
couple of times he tucked the ball away and he picked up some positive yards. 3 carries, 27 yards along a 13. I'm looking at it here. Was not expecting that out of him. But hey, do
I
what you got to do.
mean, that's the kind of intensity we need to bring when it comes to not just teams like the Bills, but every team that we play every
Every
week.
team we play against, it's
That's the mentality. We need to have a big like we came in as we won as a team on all
yep,
phases, bro.
right.
All phases.
Yep.
That's a great formula to win for sure. So,
Oh, 100%.
we keep going with that direction. I mean, we're going to get healthier hopefully,
Mhm.
and we're going to get better. Like I said, it's still early. I don't take the NFL season really serious until maybe after week 8 because by that time all the
You
teams should
kind
have
of
something.
Yeah,
Having
you know what you're going to be getting. You know what you're going to see. You know
hmm
what you're going to have coming for you. So it's with us looking at our schedule going forward. We got New England this upcoming week in New England. Then we travel to Lambeau. That's going to be an interesting game against the Packers.
for sure.
Then we're home for the Colts, and then the game that I was talking about for with Robert Sala was we played the Jets in New York or New Jersey, however you want to look at it, on Thursday Night Football on Halloween. I might add, December 31st.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a hell of a schedule coming up.
And then after that, with the following week, we've got another. I believe we got ourselves another Sunday night game. Go shout out to the Houston Texans. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got another Sunday night game, which should be a banger of a game against the Detroit Lions here in
Wow.
Houston. That'll be a banger of a game. So we'll see. I mean, the schedule's definitely not easy. I mean, for the Texans fans know this. It ramps up for us. I can't speak English apparently. As the season goes on, you've got Lions, Cowboys, Titans, Jags, but then we've got what I call the gauntlet at the end of the season. Depending on what happens with Tua and the Dolphins, you've got Tua and the Dolphins. Then you're in Kansas City in December, and then you're home against the Ravens on Christmas Day.
What a hell of a gauntlet for sure.
I call it the gauntlet because what the fuck?
But that's so
But
far away that we don't even know what
yeah,
it'll be.
but
What it'll be.
and I'm jumping way ahead of it right now as well. Obviously we've got to get guys healthy back. Nico just went down with a hamstring.
Mhm.
You've still got Joe Mixon
Christian.
who is nursing that high ankle sprain. We don't know when he's going to be back. Christian Harris, our stud linebacker from last year, he is working his way back from a hamstring injury. They're expecting him back sometime in the next week or two, I guess. D'Amico Autry, the defensive tackle we signed during the offseason, who got suspended for 6 games. He'll be back against the Packers, if I'm not mistaken.
One more week. And I have big expectations with that guy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I do too. One more week for him, and then you've got you got Damian Pierce who's been out hurt. Titus Howard didn't play this week because he was hurt. You've got a lot of players in key areas that have been played. I mean, I'm looking at it right here. Joe Mixon has missed the last 5 weeks. Jesus, it's weird to say 4 weeks. I'm sorry, 5 weeks if he doesn't play this week, and he's still our leading rusher. He's still that just to show how abysmal our run game has been. He's still our leading rusher on 39 carries for 184 yards. That's how terrible our rushing game has been. So
Yep.
we're missing him. We're going to miss Nico. We've been missing Damian Pierce in a way. We've been missing Christian Harris and Nico Autry on the defensive side of the ball. But once you start getting these pieces back in, and hopefully the football gods keep the injury bug away from us for the rest of the year. I mean, this team really does say it has, the sky's the limit, but they haven't reached that point yet. So it's when are they going to start clicking like they were last year for us? Obviously as Texan fans, we're all asking that same question and we're all being patient. We're trying to be as patient as possible. Luckily, the team is finding a way to win, so that patience is it's a little easier to
go with.
deal with, but it's like at the same time, you, no doubt, like me, when you called and told me that Nico ripped it off for 67 yards for a touchdown, and it was 17-3 at that point. I'm like, oh, they're about to blow the barn doors off of this game. The Texans are finally going to have that coming out day.
Mm-hmm.
That did not happen. And it's a testament to the Bills. They went in at halftime, had a heart-to-heart, figured out what they needed to do, came out and executed, where the Texans didn't. So, I mean, it's football.
It's football.
Anything can happen. Anything will happen. So,
yes, sir.
But I have nothing else left to add to this week's, man. You got anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to shout out?
Definitely want to shout out to the viewers here. Hey man, like, subscribe, comment, let us know what we can do better for the podcast. What are your thoughts going into the Patriots, or even, wait, we're NFL fans. Let us know what you think about your favorite team. It don't matter who it could be.
100%.
Who,
100%. We'll do the best we can to talk about everybody.
We'll do our research. Like I said, we want to know the other fans of other teams are watching, so we can maybe even put you guys in content. We're obviously Texan fans, but we talk NFL any given day. If anybody brings it up, trust me, I have Miami. I have family that loves Miami, loves the Rams, loves the Raiders, and
yes.
So, hey,
I mean, you've heard me say it before. My mom's from Buffalo. She's a Bills fan. My dad's from Cincinnati. He's a Bengals fan. My brother is a Cowboys fan. That hurt for me to say that, but my brother's a Cowboys fan. So it's like I
wasn't raised right.
Leaving that alone. I mean, the dude is a doctor, so he was raised some kind of way, right? So, but I mean, with that being said, I mean, we're fans of the game. Obviously, like Moon said, big Texan fans, but we're a fan of the game as well. We played the game, we respect it, we love it, and we want to talk about it. Tell us what you want to tell us what you would like to hear. Tell us what teams you would like for us to talk about. Help us give a shout out to your favorite players, your favorite team. We're here. We're here to put content out for y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And one more thing before we leave. I really just want to mention him. I did have a loss to my family, and I just want to say that I had to put my 10-year-old dog, Pit Bull Onyx, to sleep last Monday, as it was his last. He had great years. I thank him for every year that I did to have him. He had a great last year. He went to the lake and everything. But, buddy, I miss you. You were the perfect example of what a man can have as a dog. It shows, that dogs really are men and women's best friends that touch our hearts. I miss you. I love you. And I know you got us that win this Sunday. So I really appreciate you on that one, man.
100%.
Love you, buddy.
100%. R.I.P. Rest in power, my guy. Rest in
Sir.
power. Hey, y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. We appreciate your feedback. We love y'all. Hope y'all have a great week. It's your boy K Steg, joined by my guy Big Moon. We out.